lines. And also you could think of it more simply too, or both also this in that, political marriages, which,
Mm,
you're looking at things besides what is in someone's heart. And, this story clearly starts with he loved her very much. One and when they were together, they were very happy. And that's
mm,
the halcyon beginning of the story
mm.
until yeah, the as you say, the sick order, the sick king kind of summons him, and then he's upset about that and kind of discombobulated. And then yeah, he's kind of yeah, I guess you could say he makes a poor decision or he makes a hasty decision or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think they even say, especially in the one that you were reading, it says
Mm,
he was grieving and he didn't think or something like that.
yeah.
Um, the one that I have up says the son was so grieved that without thinking he said, "Yes, dear father, your will shall be done."
Mm,
And then the
yeah.
king died. So that
Yeah.
was like, last words spoken to the father. Um, and he seems to kind of forget. Like he seems to kind of put himself under a spell at that point, and that you
Yeah.
never hear the prince. You don't hear him mention his fiance, his previous
Yeah.
fiance. When she shows up, he doesn't recognize her at
Yeah.
first. I mean, she's kind of in disguise, but I mean, um, and there's no mention of him being engaged previously. So she just kind of within his channel of the story, she just stops existing at that point.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of strange, or
Yeah.
maybe not strange, but telling.
It's it's interesting, and give that is given that he has already made her a promise. In general, like in these stories, I pay attention a lot to when someone makes a wish, makes a promise. They put their word into the ether. It's an
Mhm.
important moment. And then yeah, I think you put it well in saying it's all he kind of puts himself under a spell or something like that. It's like his father dies, and I think that's a good way to look at it. It's like the social order is sick and now it's like in a crisis. And I think often people in their lives or a polity in a crisis will try to look for a solution that checks the boxes. And I would say maybe part of the reason things got to such a crisis is because they've been looking at things too right brained and too checking boxes. Okay, we're doing the things we're supposed to do, but things keep getting worse. But, not letting the intuition in, as represented in this story by the heart and the prince's love and everything.
That's interesting. Yeah, because that one, I totally agree. The way, a polity or a civilization or whatever a society will have its own list of check boxes, and try and solve problems with those. I think we see a lot of that in our present society with trying to deal with the ecological crisis. A lot of the stuff that we try to do seems to end up making it worse, which implies that our strategies are coming from the same place that is causing the problems. Um, so we would need to find what was it? I've heard this attributed to Einstein. I'm not sure if it is, but there's a quote of like you can't solve a problem at the same level of thinking that created the problem.
Yeah.
And I feel like I feel like that's what we're doing, as a society, and that's sort of maybe, I mean, we've talked about the meaning crisis. That's a theme for us here. I think that's one of, if not the kind of underlying thing, is that there's something inherently built into the way we look at the world that is causing the problems, and we stay within that particular mind state or that view of the world and try and solve the problems, but the mind state itself is the problem. So we're like trying to fix symptoms or trying to wash something with a hand that's already dirty, and we need to kind of step out of that view and let that dissolve, which I think we've discussed in several different ways.
Dionysus.
Dionysus. I remember at one point we were talking about temples in Thailand. I don't remember what episode it was, but you were talking
Oh,
about
wow.
having gone to Thailand, and the temples sort of holding
Ah,
the eternal nature, and so then the civilization can fall away because the sort of religious or spiritual element is so present within
Yeah.
the society that the social level is able to sort of fall away and die. And, not that we should necessarily look to Thailand as some sort of enlightened civilization, but the loss of religion as a noble thing in the West
Mm.
being an underlying cause as well. I think we see that in what you're pointing to, um, and the need for. I mean, there is an element of like the need for power or the desire for power here, and that the prince
Yeah.
becomes the king. It
Mm.
reminds me of the Theseus myth a little bit, where Theseus is on Naxos, I think, some island with Ariadne, having killed the Minotaur.
Mm.
They escape together, and they're there,
All right.
and then he leaves her on the island and goes back to Athens, but forgets to switch the sails. And so his elderly father, who he's coming back to meet, thinks that he's dead and dives off. And so when Theseus comes back, he finds that his own actions have killed his father. And
Yeah.
I see that mapping here with like the father dying, the old social order dying, but the new order sort of not meeting that moment correctly.
Yeah.
And so the illness is perpetuated. In this story, the true bride is not married, it's the false bride that ends up being married because
Yeah.
he couldn't speak his truth to his father in this case.
Yeah.
He couldn't say, "No, I'm sorry, Dad. Like, I know you're dying. I don't want to marry that princess. I'm already betrothed to somebody else." Like, he wasn't able to stand up for himself in that moment.
Yeah.
Um, which, if there's some, you know, fealty to his father's wishes, like, okay, like I can understand that, but
Hmm.
um, that's not so power hungry. That's trying to respect your dad. But if we're mapping the social order onto the dad, then it's like you're doing what you have to do to get the social order's blessing to be king.
Yeah.
And so you can kind of zhuzh the lines a little bit and get to that conclusion from it.
Mm. Yeah. Please like and subscribe for more of our open-minded content and comment below on your thoughts or questions about the story. Let us know if you'd like us to cover another stimulating story, and thank you for participating.